Cancer loves. And we need to know what cancer loves so we can stop it. We also need to know what cancer hates, because we want to give it, is that right? She discovered that cancer loves sugar. The fact is that a cancer cell consumes 15 times the glucose of any other cell. At the end of the lecture, she said, "Oh dear." I said, "What is it?" She said, "I used to make I don't know if you're familiar with pavlovas. I think it's an Australian dessert, but it's egg whites beaten with sugar and then slowly baked. So it's like, I think you'd call it a meringue, is that right?" She used to make pavlovas, like meringues, and she used to make them this big. And on top, I think you put whipped cream and fruit, something like that. So she'd make a pavlova. She said, "I would put 16 cups of white sugar into a pavlova this big." She said, "I believe that I have just been feeding my cancer." That was one point. And I found when people are conquering cancer, and you look at the history, there can be a little bit of that and a little bit of that, and then a little bit over here, maybe a little bit of genetics. But remember, genetics loads the gun, lifestyle pulls the trigger. Cancer also loves an acid environment. And guess what is the most acid substance you can put into your body? Refined sugar. Nothing wrong with the sugar cane. All those minerals alkalize it up, but when they extract the sugar out of the sugarcane plant, it becomes a pure acid. Dr. Yudkin, he wrote a book called Pure, White and Deadly on sugar. In fact, one of the chapters in his book, he claims it should be banned. It is so dangerous. How could something so sweet be so bad? Sugar also loves a no oxygen environment. So what does cancer hate? Cancer hates it when you stop the sugar or stop all glucose. Cancer is not happy when you create an alkaline environment in the body. And cancer hates oxygen. I have many books in my library at home, being an avid reader, and I have many books on doctors, specialists, naturopaths worldwide who are conquering cancer. And when I read them, there are differences, there are slight differences. Some do IV vitamin C, some do apricot kernel seeds. So there's differences, but there's 3 common denominators. And I have put these 3 common denominators here. Let me show you why cancer cells love glucose. This week we've looked at this a few times. Here's the cell, the central business district of the human body. The glucose goes in. It goes through a 20-step pathway. And this 20-step pathway gives us 2 units of energy. The end result of the 20-step pathway is a chemical form of glucose called pyruvate. We'll just call it the P. It's the chemical form of glucose that gets fed into the 8-step pathway. This 8-step pathway is called the powerhouse of the cell for good reason. It delivers 36 units of energy. Whoa! What makes the difference? It's oxygen. This is the pathway that uses oxygen. This pathway uses no oxygen. This pathway, this 20-step pathway, is also a very fast pathway. So it's consuming a lot of glucose. So basically, this is a cancer cell. You will find many people who are, I always say, conquering cancer, no matter what stage. not suffering from, not being taken down by, conquering cancer. You will find a lot of them have no energy. Very little energy, because a lot of their cells are running up here. That's where the cancer cells run. And that's a very fast pathway, so they're going to be eating up 15 times the glucose. And they don't need oxygen to run. So let me show you what Elizabeth Cott did. Elizabeth Cott came to me and said, anything you say, I will do. Oh, I love it when people say that. Anything you say, I will do. So I said, this is what we're going to do. We're going to starve that cancer. How do you starve it? To starve it, you've got to know what it loves. It loves glucose. And so we suggested 6 weeks, no sugar, no honey, no sweet at all. What's she going to eat? There's a lot of vegetables. There's a lot of legumes. There's a lot of nuts. There's a lot of seeds. So you can get a lovely variety. Some people that come to us, they decide to make Monday lima bean day, Tuesday lentil day, Wednesday organic tofu day, Thursday black-eyed bean day. There's so many that you can have a different one every day. And so many different vegetables. She also had to check her house to make sure there was no contamination with mold. You see, mold loves sugar. It loves a damp environment. And the oncologist, Dr. Tullio Simoncini, has written a book. It's called Cancer is a Fungus. Oh! He found, as an oncologist, every single patient that he tested had some form of candida in their body. And he was getting 90% success rate. He would get the most alkaline mix called sodium bicarbonate, and he would get a portacath, put it into the body, and when he would inject sodium bicarbonate straight into the cancer, because cancer cannot survive in the alkaline environment. It loves acid. 90% success rate. I have a friend that lives here. You may know her, Dr. Emma Fields. She took one of her patients to him in Italy. But he had to come to a hotel and he had to dress in dark clothes because he was under investigation. In fact, the last I heard, he was in jail under a charge of manslaughter. My husband said if only he'd given the person chemotherapy, he wouldn't be in jail. Am I right? Did someone come to him in their latter stages and they would have passed anyway? One does not know, because I presume you have come to the conclusion, as I have, that you can't believe the news. My husband sent me a little thing that was on the news. Man died from COVID yesterday in Australia. He was fully vaccinated, and it said because he was vaccinated, he didn't get it as bad. It would have been worse. I'll leave it with you. I found out that Elizabeth Cott was very fussy in her house. But I also found that Elizabeth Cott loved cheese. A lady did our program. She said, I took my little daughter to the cheese factory. We saw huge big blocks of cheese and they were green. What they do is they cut the green off and then cut it up and package it. So it's very difficult to buy cheese without a fungus in it. So to starve the fungus, you make sure that it's not getting sugar. Now,